Hi, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Piyush Chandra, and I'm the product manager for conversational AI at SAP. And now you might be wondering, chatbots and SAP, what is happening? Well, we'll get to that later. But first, I want to start with a quick show of hands from people who have used a voice assistant or a chatbot in the last 1 month. Awesome. And now only those people who have used it in the last 1 week. Wow. OK, finally raise your hands if you have used a voice assistant or a chatbot in the last 24 hours. Awesome. This is exactly what I was expecting. As you can see around yourself, chatbots and voice assistants are not just a fad anymore. They are here to stay. And as it turns out, we are actually in the middle of an inflection point in the journey of chatbots. But why is it happening right now? And there are multiple reasons why it's happening right now. One of the reasons it's happening right now is messaging platforms, which are one of the major consumption mechanisms for chatbots, have taken over social networks in terms of number of users. WhatsApp has over 1 billion users today, Facebook over 900 million, and WeChat another 700 million users. The other reason is, as a couple of colleagues before me already mentioned, that the promise of smartphone apps, the promise of this immersive user experience might actually be a thing of the past. Because what users are facing now is app fatigue. A typical smartphone user has over 40 apps on his or her phone. But they only use, on a regular basis, just 5 apps. In fact, 2/3 of the users haven't even downloaded a new app in the last 1 month. And 23% of all apps are disbanded after just one single use. To give you an example, only 16% of the users still use the Starbucks app. Now, in terms of technology, we have also made a lot of progress. Especially in NLP, natural language processing, the amount of advances we have made in the last 3 years is more than last 3 decades. Now combine that with our ability to have more and more computational power and our ability to collect vast amounts of quality training data at ever-decreasing prices. This has allowed us to, and this has allowed the developer community to try out theories and practices which were not possible until just a few years ago. And finally, it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of money. So there is also a lot of activity that's happening in the startup community. And VCs in general have been very generous when it comes to funding startups focused on natural language processing. The year 2020, if we keep moving on the same trajectory, a recent report by Gartner predicts a really good picture of the year 2020. It says that by year 2020, we'll have over 3 billion smartphone users in the world. That is more than 1/3 of the world's population. And this is very significant because smartphones are the main consumption device for chatbots. The report goes on to further predict that 85% of all business communications will be done through a bot. And 30% of all communications will be without a screen. In fact, the report even says that we are heading towards a future where most of us will be having more conversations with bots than with our spouse. In fact, that might actually be true for some of us already. But are we ready for this revolution? In order for us to automate enterprise business processes through chatbots, we need to have technology that's very accurate in understanding what the user wants the bot to do. But if you look at this example here, you'll realize that probably the technology is not there today. Are we limited to just this example? I'm afraid we are not. One of the major chatbot framework provider recently made an announcement to scale down their chatbot operations because 70% of the times user queries were getting matched incorrectly on this framework. And that is significant. 70% of the time you match what the user wants to do incorrectly. Here's another example where the bot is not able to understand the context of what the user wants. And this is fine in the case of consumer applications. You might still find a workaround. But can you imagine this same situation in the context of an enterprise boardroom meeting being run through a chatbot? Imagine this exact dialogue happening in that meeting. This bot will probably never attend another board meeting in his life. So high are the stakes in enterprise software. But we at SAP, we believe that chatbots and voice assistants are the next paradigm how users will talk to software solutions. So we are building a natural language processing platform that will allow us to build voice capabilities and text capabilities in all of our solutions. But to be able to do that, we have to keep 4 things in mind. The first one is accuracy. We want to build a solution, a platform, that understands what you want to do every single time, and not just 3 out of 10 times. The second important point is context awareness. We want this bot to be able to understand what is the context of your request. And this is very important. This is a very important distinction between consumer-grade chatbots and enterprise-grade chatbots. The reason being, consumer-grade chatbots are mostly defined around a single process. But in the context of enterprise, there are thousands of business processes which are very tightly interconnected. So we have to be able to build technology that is able to refer to all these processes while maintaining the context of user request. Now, thirdly, we want our chatbots to be able to retain memory. By that, I mean that if you want to transition from a chatbot conversation you were having on your desktop to your smartphone, we should be able to let you do that instead of terminating your session on the desktop and starting a new session on your smartphone. And finally, domain understanding. As we saw that most of you have used a voice assistant and a chatbot recently, so you know that the way to invoke these chatbots and voice assistants is either through their names or by going to the actual dedicated chatbot. Now, this works in the context of consumer applications, all right. But at SAP, we have 20,000 unique transactions and 300,000 unique screens. We cannot imagine our users to remember all these transactions and all these screens. So this job has to be done by the technology. If I go, for example, to book a travel using SAP system, I shouldn't have to say, SAP Concur, book a travel for me. All I need to say is, SAP, book a travel for me, and the platform should figure out that it has to invoke the Concur chatbot. Now, keeping all this in mind, we are building a platform which actually goes deep into domains rather than going shallow and horizontal across domains. The reason for this is, unless we go really deep into a domain, we are not really able to build accurate understanding of natural language processing. To be able to do that, the approach we have taken is to go deeper into individual business domains and then scale it out over time. Now, there are multiple reasons why SAP has a cutting edge over its competition. A couple of those reasons are because over the last 45 years, we have defined these processes, we have the domain expertise to be able to define an intelligent conversation flow. Secondly, we, along with our customers, are sitting on a gold mine of training data, which we can leverage to make our chatbots actually smart and not dumb bots. So with that, I would like to conclude, but I would like to mention, going back to the initial question I asked, are we ready? Are chatbots ready for enterprise? Sadly, the answer today is no, we are not ready. But we at SAP are working to ensure that soon we will be ready to have chatbots for enterprise. And if you would like to be part of this game-changing journey, please send me an email because we are hiring. Thank you.